Okay, so I've got this genuinely strange, maybe slightly ridiculous idea I want to throw at you today. What if you woke up one morning and just decided, right then and there, okay, my new diet is exactly what an industrial cow eats?
Huh. That's a fantastic, if maybe a little unsettling place to start.
Yeah.
But it's crucial we clarify, right? We're not talking about, the nice image of a cow happily munching grass in a sunny field. That's what they should be eating.
Right, not the picturesque version.
No, we're zeroing in on that final, really intensive period, the last, say, 200 days of a commercial cow's life
Yeah.
stuck in a feedlot.
Ah, the get fat quick phase, where they're basically being engineered for maximum weight gain, get that muscle marbling everyone wants.
Precisely. During that time, the cow barely moves, right? Minimum energy out.
Yeah.
And the diet, it completely flips. Forget grass, it's grain, grain, grain. We're talking 70, maybe even 90% starch.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's specifically designed to just, well, pump them full of cheap calories.
Yeah.
Turn that into profitable meat fast.
Oof. Okay, yeah, a high-intensity fattening program, basically. And this is where I think it gets really interesting for us. Our mission for this deep dive is to put that cow's final 200-day, super starch diet side by side with what the average American eats and see how maybe disturbingly similar the actual building blocks are. Okay, so let's unpack this first bit, the whole starch thing. It's kind of deceptive, isn't it?
It really is. And what's fascinating is how effectively we've all been sort of conditioned to see starch as the foundation of good nutrition. I mean, think back to the old food pyramid, right? That huge base layer.
Oh, yeah, the massive bottom chunk.
Exactly. Recommended for what, 6 to 11 servings?
Yeah.
And it was all bread, pasta, rice, cereal, crackers.
Basically pure starch.
Pure starch. That's supposed to be the bulk of your calories.
It's kind of the great irony, isn't it? We're told to be absolutely terrified of the tiny little top bit, the fats and oils and sweets, but the entire foundation, 65 to 70% of the calories the average American eats, is just this dense block of carbohydrates, starch.
And this leads straight into this massive chemical confusion people have. Everyone kind of gets that sugar, glucose, the white grainy stuff is bad. Limit that.
Right. Sugar bad. Got it.
But then you say carbohydrates, especially, whole grain carbs, and people think, oh, that's different. That's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought I was making the healthy choice grabbing a bagel instead of a candy bar.
Yeah.
So tell me why I was maybe wrong there.
Well, chemically speaking, you weren't really avoiding sugar. You were just eating a much more complicated version of it. See, a sugar molecule, glucose,
Yeah.
it's the basic unit.
Okay.
What is starch? It's simply a very, very long chain of those exact same glucose molecules all stuck together, like beads on a string.
Huh. Like a glucose necklace?
Kind of.
Okay.
And when you eat it, your digestion's job is just to break that chain back down into the individual glucose beads. So starch is literally hidden glucose.
Okay, wait. So if the occasional single glucose bead is bad, why on earth are we told to eat the entire, molecular chain gang as the base of our diet?
And, it actually gets worse when you bring processing into it. If you eat something like a whole potato, the starch is kind of locked up with fiber in plant cells. Your body has to work slowly to get it out.
Right. Makes sense. Nature's packaging.
But ultra-processed starch, think cornstarch powder, white flour, all that protective stuff has been stripped away. The processing basically pre-digests it.
Like the food industry chewed it for us first.
Exactly. They remove the fiber, the stuff that slows down absorption. It's like taking a really complex, tangled knot and smoothing it into a perfectly straight rope. So ultra-processed starch can actually spike your blood sugar even higher and faster than if you just ate pure glucose powder, because it's absorbed so efficiently.
Wow. Okay, that puts the whole label reading game in a totally new light. The comedy or maybe the tragedy of it. We stand in the aisle checking the sugar grams.
Let's walk through a couple of examples, right? Take corn chips. You grab the bag, flip it over, 0 grams of sugar. You think, yes, success. Dodge the sugar bullet.
Healthy snack unlocked. Congratulations, mate.
Yeah. Until you glance over at the total carbs, 18 grams, just for 15 chips. And that entire load, it's essentially that super efficient, ready to absorb glucose chain. Bam. Instant sugar hit, basically.
Or a standard flour tortilla. Same deal. 0 sugars, maybe 1 gram. But 25 grams of carbs, I used to feel so virtuous eating cornflakes. The box says, 3 grams of sugar? Seems low. But then 35 grams of carbs. You're just mainlining 35 grams of super optimized pre-digested glucose chains for breakfast.
So if we kind of connect the dots here,
Okay.
we got to ask, where is all this hidden starch actually coming from? And that leads us down the corn trail.
And just to be clear, we're not talking about the sweet corn, right? The yummy stuff on the cob.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
We're talking about field corn, or more specifically, dent corn. This is not the corn you buy frozen or eat at a barbecue. Dent corn is, well, it's pretty tasteless. It's hard. Honestly, in its whole form, humans can't really eat it. It's not digestible.
So it's not food then?
Think of it more like an industrial commodity, like wood pulp that gets turned into paper. It's a raw material.
Yeah.
But it is the #1 feed used to fatten up cattle in those feedlots.
Okay, this is starting to sound less like an accidental dietary mistake and more like, I don't know, maybe an intentional, profitable setup. Let's follow the money here. Dollars and cents.
Oh, it absolutely comes down to economics.
Yeah.
Dent corn is incredibly profitable, and crucially, it's incredibly cheap. Why? Massive federal subsidies. The numbers are kind of stark. You can buy 1 cubic ton of this corn for roughly $198. That price is artificially low.
Wow, okay.
Which makes it, hands down, the cheapest source of bulk calories available, period.
So because it's dirt cheap and the government helps pay for it, it basically becomes the foundation for the entire industrial food system.
Precisely. It is everywhere. It's for cattle, obviously, creating that marbling. Huge amounts go into ethanol fuel. But for our diets, it puts on all these disguises.
Okay, list some of these disguises, because it's got to be more than just like high fructose corn syrup, right?
Oh yeah, way more. It's corn flour, it's modified food starch, it's modified cornstarch, it's maltodextrin. Seriously, there are over 50 different starches pulled from this one cheap source. It's the binder, the thickener, the texturizer, the filler. It's in almost every processed thing on the shelf.
And the oil. We can't forget the oil.
Absolutely. They extract the oil, it becomes corn oil, which falls under that whole category of industrial seed oils. And yeah, maybe years ago it was marketed with vague, heart-healthy claims, but fundamentally it's a heavily processed product from a cheap industrial crop.
And we eat a lot of it, right? The consumption numbers are kind of staggering. How much corn oil are we actually talking about per year?
The average American puts away about 8 gallons. 8 gallons of corn-based seed oil every single year.
8 gallons?
Yeah. And when you add that to all the starches, the maltodextrin, the syrups, you start to get a picture of the sheer scale. This one subsidized commodity just dominates our food supply.
Which, okay, circles us back to the food guidelines. If this cheap industrial starch needs massive processing just to be in food, why was it ever recommended as the base of our whole diet?
Well, this is where you bump into, let's say, institutional conflicts. You've got maybe 4 huge corporations that effectively control the world's grain market. When you have something that's subsidized to be super cheap, which means super profitable for them, there's a massive incentive to make sure it stays the dietary base.
Right. Keep the demand high for the cheap stuff. And lobbying plays a role here, I imagine. I saw this statistic about the scientists who actually wrote the guidelines, and it was pretty shocking.
That number is the real gut punch, I think. Over 90% of the scientists involved in creating or advising on those official government food guidelines, they were found to have some kind of financial tie vested interest, direct funding from big food.
Wow.
The very companies that profit most from selling all this cheap corn and soy.
Okay, I'm having a genuine aha moment here, or maybe an oh no moment, realizing just how much of our basic nutrition advice seems kind of tied to a corporate balance sheet. It really does feel like the human menu is designed using the same playbook as the feedlot menu.
And that shared foundation, it leads directly to shared health consequences. Let's look back at the cows first, because their biology really highlights the risk.
Okay, so a cow's stomach is built for grass. What happens when you switch it to 90% grain?
Their whole digestive system, the rumen, it's designed for slow fermentation of fiber. When you just flood it with starch, the microbes go nuts and produce a massive amount of excess acid. This leads to a really painful condition called acidosis, basically, acid burn in the stomach, and then you get infections in the intestines.
Which explains why these industrial farms have to constantly pump them full of antibiotics, right? Just to keep them alive long enough?
Exactly. They're medicating against a problem created by the diet itself.
Okay, now, Suri.
Now, us. We've been eating a similar, overwhelming load of high-starch, ultra-processed stuff, mostly corn and soy derivatives, for decades now. And the results, well, you see them. Skyrocketing obesity, huge increases in fatty liver disease, even in kids now. Cardiovascular problems.
And it sounds like similar stuff might be happening in our guts, too. Maybe not acidosis, but definitely inflammation.
We see signs of it. Abnormal fermentation, but happening in the wrong place, like the small intestine. That can lead to inflammation, IBS symptoms, weird food sensitivities. We're basically running our bodies on a fuel they weren't really designed to handle in such massive, constant quantities.
Let's try and quantify this hidden load for people listening. Put those numbers into perspective because when you actually picture how much of this specific industrial stuff we eat each year, it's kind of alarming.
Okay, imagine you're standing in your kitchen. Annually, the average person consumes 35.5 pounds of cornstarch, just the powder. Picture those bags stacked up.
35 pounds? It's a
Yeah.
lot of powder.
And that's just the starch powder. Now add 60 pounds of corn sweeteners,
Mm-hmm.
high fructose corn syrup, other corn-based syrups,
Yeah.
60 pounds.
Okay, this is getting terrifying.
And the oil that we mentioned, 8 gallons, right? That translates to about 11.5 pounds of corn seed oil per person per year. And then if you also factor in soy oil, which is often processed similarly and used interchangeably, that's another 28 pounds, you quickly realize how much of this industrial base is hidden in practically everything.
It all comes back to that dent corn, that kind of nasty, inedible stuff. The stuff you wouldn't touch if someone put the whole kernels on your plate. It tastes like nothing. It's hard. But once they grind it into a fine, anonymous powder or call it modified food starch, we're eating literally tens of pounds of it every year without blinking.
So the big question,
Mm-hmm.
what do we do? How do we break this cycle? And really, the power is in our shopping carts. It's about our buying habits. We have to stop bankrolling farming practices that depend on this engineered economy.
So you're saying the fix isn't just counting calories, it's about choosing completely different inputs for our food.
It is absolutely about the inputs. We need to vote with our dollars, right? Avoid the products packed with cheap industrial grain derivatives. And I strongly recommend, whenever possible, shifting your spending towards grass-fed, grass-finished animal products.
Because that sends a market signal.
Exactly. It tells the big players, hey, we don't support this reliance on den corn and soy feed. It pushes the system slowly back towards letting cows eat grass, which is, biologically appropriate for them.
So it's a market correction, basically, driven by us, the consumers, realizing we need to shift the foundation away from cheap industrial starch.
Precisely. It's a pretty simple concept at heart. Choose food that comes from animals that ate what they were actually designed to eat.
We've been told for decades to stress about the occasional candy bar, maybe the slice of cake. But maybe the real danger isn't the obvious sweet treat we have once in a while. Maybe the real risk is hiding in plain sight the very foundation of our diet, the ultra-processed, starchy stuff that keeps the whole industrial food machine running. I mean, if we're eating food derived from a system that needs massive chemical tweaks and constant antibiotics just to keep the animal alive, what on earth is it doing to us?